Okay, guys, this is going to be a first for me. I am going to hopefully be building up the 1/100 scale P Bandai Hrududu. Hopefully this light is okay. I've got like the light on my paint booth on. I've got my light panel casting light here. It's a little dim, so that's the max brightness that's got. I'm just trying to cast as few shadows as I can. So, like I said in the unboxing, I was going to try and maybe assemble this for you guys. These are in the instructions. This is my tiny workbench. That's got a lot of stuff on it that I'm in the middle of working on. Also a lot of junk on it, because kind of like Alex Steele says, horizontal surfaces collect things. So hopefully this works out. It's going to be a weird reverse angle. Maybe we'll see if I can figure out how to get that all situated in post with editing. But yeah, so this is the instruction book. Most Gunpla, by the way, Gunpla means Gundam Plastic Model Kit. It's an abbreviation. But most Gunpla have an instruction manual. The majority of it is going to be in Japanese, which you can kind of see there, but the newer stuff does have English, which is really nice, because a lot of times you'll get like images like that, or like that. I guess it's going to be maybe like this. So you'll get awesome things and it'll tell you, oh yeah. But it used to be they wouldn't give you the instructions for like the water slide decals or the paints. If you wanted a specific paint so that you could paint it instead of just doing what I do, snapping it up. So they don't tell you which paints to buy, but they do tell you the percentages here, which is kind of nice to be able to match these colors and make these colors work, which is really nice. Luckily, some of these colors, such as the body gray part, dark blue part, and blue part, I have paints that match those. So if I want to paint this one up, I can actually paint it up to match the colors that they show there. These images show the kit painted. As you can see, there are some parts like right in there. That may be kind of hard to see, but that little red part there, and you can also see it there, little red part. Those are painted parts. There are no red parts on this kit, unfortunately, but that's one of the ways that you can tell that it's painted. Now, normally I wouldn't have all my runners set out like this. I actually have a tendency to keep the runners in alphabetical order, as every runner is lettered. You can see here on this runner, it's letter D, and then it's got some numbers. It says, it's hard to see, but it says MG 1100, and then some Japanese, and then probably says Hrududu. Or G Parts, because this was called the FX, or FFX29A G Parts Hrududu. So, but that being said, you'll see that every runner has, you know, letters. Some are cut out, some aren't always cut out. So sometimes it'll be hard. You can see that that one says B2. It might be upside down. I can't. It's hard to tell for, see, B2. That's not upside down for me right now because I'm sitting on this side of the camera. So we'll see how this works out. But this top-down view hopefully will work out well. But yeah, I wanted to kind of do this and be able to show you guys what's going on. Yay! Like I said, it comes with water slide decals, which is kind of indicative of P Bandai stuff. These are the water slide decals. Focus, 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 no focus. I guess it doesn't like that for some reason. There we go. So you can see water slide decals. All of these Gundam kits from the Advance of Zeta series are named after Watership Down characters. So there's the Hazel, which for those of you who've ever played. Hey guys, I don't know what just happened there. My camera went all wonky. It said internal temp high, please let cool off. It's a little weird, a little odd. Didn't realize my camera could overheat. But okay. So we're gonna hop to this and we will see about me trying to film this and see what happens. It's a little odd that decided it wanted to overheat though. It's not that warm. Like it doesn't feel all that warm. So I'm touching it. Maybe a little bit of warm back there. But, it's odd. Don't know. So that being said, yeah, I'm gonna attempt to build this thing on camera for some reason because I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment. I'm still gonna try and put these in alphabetical order. These blue runners are A runner, the gray ones are B runner. This is actually a simple kit. This has very few runners for it. And I'm going to basically be using these two items. These are probably some of the best nippers you can get. That's what we call them. Some people call them side cutters. Most people in the Gunpla community call them nippers. These are Godham nippers. They're a little bit rusty, but these are probably the best ones I've ever gotten. They give you the closest cuts. And then a hobby knife. This one happens to be the Citadel brand hobby knife. I like this one because it's a metal handle. It's got good weight to it, and the rear, it's actually weighted towards the back, which makes it more comfortable to wield. And this end cap here is hexagonal, which you can kind of see there. But it means that when you lay it down, if you lay it on a flat surface, it's not gonna, it's very difficult for it to roll anywhere. My mat here is not a completely flat surface, so I won't be making any straight cuts. But yeah, so, and then sometimes I need a mechanical pencil for something. I don't know. This is actually a drafting pencil. I was looking for this the other day, and I'm leaving it in frame so I remember where it is. Yeah, so that's about it. I've got a lot of weird shit up here on my tabletop, because this is where I also do a lot of painting. So, that being said, we're going to get started. I built this kit twice in completion before. Like I said, I bought this kit three other times. And then I pre-ordered the blue version 2 of them from, what was that company called again? Right, USA Gundam Store. I want to say a big shout out to them. That was very, 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 very awesome of them to get this to me. I paid for it. I paid for both kits. I'm not sponsored by them, but you know, I'm still stoked by the customer service I received from them. Better than a lot of companies that I've dealt with in the past. So, we're just going to get started. Now, a lot of people will tell you to nip further back. Yeah, that's a good call, typically. I nip right up close to the part. I find that doing that, especially with the God hands, gives me a much nicer surface to work with right off the bat. So you can kind of maybe see focus. Thing is right in front of you. You can kind of sort of see where I cut the little parts off, the little nubs off there. If it'll focus right there, there's a little white spot, but these are amazingly close. But they're not always perfect. That's why I use a hobby knife, or X-Acto knife, or modeling knife, whatever you want to call it. And I just run it across real light. These parts are usually a Gundam model is built out of polystyrene, and most of these parts are polystyrene. I am pretty sure that these gray parts are ABS. ABS usually has a little bit more of a rubber feeling to it in comparison to the polystyrene, which it feels a little bit more fragile. So we are just getting started with the, what do they call this? A unit. Specifically this, as I pull hair that I have shed off of here off. Specifically, this is the main cross beam section. It's kind of the main body of the Hrududu unit. It also forms the part that holds the wings, or booster wings, as I call them. Now, a fun little trick that I learned is when you're just scraping this off, sometimes it'll leave like a little bit of a white. You just take your fingernail and just give that a little bit of a rub. It tends to take that right off. As I'm not painting these kits, I'm not crazy worried. This actually doesn't, the nub marks, bleh. The nub marks on this kit really aren't too bad. So yeah, you just kind of fit the pieces together. It's kind of nice. Works out well. Yeah, so I'm going to work on this and getting this all set up and ready to go. There'll be parts coming off of multiple different runners. You know, and I'm just going to let this run, and I will probably fast forward through this all in high speed. You also see sometimes like I'll nip a piece and then just kind of pops off. It's kind of nice to be able to do that. I find that sometimes when things like, you can see that that part didn't do what the last one did. Sometimes it can be nice when that happens, and it gives you a nice clean edge, and it doesn't have any stress marks on it. Other times it leaves a nice little void in that piece, which can get a little frustrating. Because if you're trying to make something look really, really clean and crisp, that void can be difficult if you're not painting. Because when you paint, you can also go back through and fill it. With some kind of like filling compound, Bondo. Alright, we're going to try this again. Ooh, too close, too close. There we go. So, my camera went all wonky and died on me as I was in the process of doing this. So I had to let it charge. A little bit. Here we go. That'll work. So, yeah, basically these parts, they go together. They snap together, and sometimes you can get away with small crimes. Usually people want to paint these because, maybe if you can see it here, you can see these kind of lines in the plastic. Those are just blemishes in the injection molding. You can see them in the right light. You can you can even see it from way down here. But yeah, so those are just things. They happen. There's nothing you can really do about it. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna work on putting this whole sexy little thing together while you guys watch. And yeah, like I said, sometimes I let it twist off, and you can see maybe here. See, it kind of leaves a little divot there when you do it like that. You just take your knife, a little scrape, scrape, scrape. Just real gentle. You don't want to dig into the rest of the surface, but you just kind of scrape it. tighter. And this is nice. You always want to listen for the click. Some parts do actually snap in place, which is really nice. It means you get a really secure fit. But yeah. And that secure fit is what allows for a very posable Gundam kit, I have found. The tighter your joints are on your kits, the more posability you have. The looser a joint is on a kit, the more likely you are to have floppy joints, floppy arms and legs. Unlike a lot of people who like to assemble the parts and then assemble it, I actually really like to assemble the parts and then start assembling the parts together before I have everything done. It makes it easier to keep track of what I've actually finished. Now that... Right now we are working on the blade rifle. I think that's what it's called. It is the primary weapon of the Hrududu, and it can be combined with the beam rifle of the Hazel to... Why do I feel like I'm forgetting what this part goes to? Because I am forgetting. But why am I forgetting? I'll figure it out. Alright, so it died. I got this piece in that I was like, oh, what does that do? But it's another one that's supposed to have that green section in it. My camera keeps being wonky. I'll have to figure that out. It's a little concerning. Now I am referring to the instructions for building the rifle, because in the past there have been parts that I've missed. Teeny tiny itsy bitsy parts. Specifically, I think either this little part here or one of these two parts. No, it's this part. This part right here. This little guy. I've missed on where that's supposed to go. And accidentally threw it away on a kit. I don't know if it's actually used in this. Like, there's this very fancy mechanism that attaches within the rear of the rifle. But I'm not sure what it's actually used for. So with this end here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's like a hole in there. I just realized that's why it's so dark. My LED panel's not on. So you can see there's kind of a hole here. That'll go onto the barrel of the rifle from the Hazel. However, when not in use with that rifle, this gray piece here, this little adapter goes in there, and then that part goes on there, like that. And that is your blade rifle. Called so because it's got this big giant fucking blade here. It's basically a giant railgun. Very powerful. Sometimes these come in with what looks like scratches, and they're not scratches. It's actually markings from the mold release agent used for getting these out of their molds. Pretty nifty. Basically everything from here is going to be mostly this runner and this runner and this runner, because we're basically done with all the other ones ish. Like I said, this is not the most complicated kit. It is definitely more pieces than the 1/100 or the 1/144th scale. Be really cool. There's a way, I'm sure like you can do it modeling wise, but these pieces here, they're like a little joined link setup. It'd be really awesome if these could like separate out into like individual links. So they look like they're supposed to do, but they do not. Okay. Before you do anything with the runners, always check to make sure there are no spare bits. This kit also does come with a action base. But yeah, you can see more like this piece here. If I can get it, it's got like what looks like a bunch of scratches on it. It's just mold release grease. That's still on there, which is kind of good because it does kind of protect the finish. Wow, I've never seen this piece come in at that weird wonky angle. Huh. I will have to check. I have these runners, these same runners, on an unfinished white version. Because like I said, I bought 3 of the white version. Or gray, whatever you want to say. So I'll have to check and see if it's at that weird funky angle on that white version. I'm doing the same thing I did with that other one here. I'm just going to nip everything off. I would say advanced Gunpla builders would say don't cut all the pieces off the runners. You want to be able to find them. Oh, this is something really important. So you'll see there's actually a peg connected to the gate being the part where the injection mold actually gets squirted in. You always want to be very careful when doing these and cut just above the top of the peg, because I can guarantee you that little peg there on top is going to be used for something. I mean, I know for a fact it is, but you always want to be careful. Bandai's gotten really good about making sure that the pegs look different, even if they're used with the gate, so that you can actually get good visual separation between your parts. And one of the reasons why they say don't do this is because I was just looking for this piece and it was buried underneath a bunch of stuff. You also don't want to lose any pieces. I don't normally cut them all off like this, but I wanted to. Because, yeah. So this is one of those fun moments where you realize, oh shit, I forgot that this piece needs to have this other thing that happens to it before I fully assemble it, which is this, because it all fits together like this. So this section that you're looking at here would traditionally be called the inner frame, mostly because it's all the inner workings. It's got all these little open and close gizmo-y bits that are very kind of, I don't want to say indicative, but very, I guess, indicative of being, you know, an internal part. And then you get these parts that go on the outside that are your outer frame. And yeah. So see, you get that nice little bluey, purpley color. I don't know how much I like the blue. It shows the blemishes way more. This one may end up getting painted. Do we do this yet? I forgot. Technically, I'm not supposed to fully assemble this, or at least close it up yet, until I've got everything assembled. Right, the last little bits to cut off. So this yellow, by the way, which looks probably very kind of school bus yellow on camera, is actually a really hard yellow to match. It took me, personally, without buying actual Gundam paints. I have one kit that I painted, and I painted this kit because I'd seen somebody else do this paint job, and because I'm such a huge Titans Test Team fangirl. It goes like that, right? I wanted to replicate it, like really, really bad. So I did my personal best at replicating this paint job that I liked. It could be better. Oh right, I forgot. There were like sometimes there are these little safety bits from the injection molds. Like those aren't supposed to be there. And there was one on the inside, which was a little weird that there was one on the inside. But these come off pretty easily. And then you just flip this on. So I have no idea when this cut out, because it didn't tell me it cut out. It didn't tell me it stopped. So hopefully you saw some of that. I got it fully assembled. I'm a little frustrated by you, camera. But yeah, so as you can see, that's the 1/100 scale Hrududu. Now, one of the cool parts about this guy is this part right here. This little guy, little fiddly bit, will attach to the parts for this. This is the action base, and apparently purple paint. So we will take this guy. This is for attaching parts to the chest. I don't have a fancy motorized turntable, but you get the idea. That right there, friends. That's the Hrududu.